you all hear me?
Yes.
Wanted to extend a warm good morning and welcome to the College of Education. Have you all had an opportunity to grab some coffee and a little something to have breakfast? Yes? Okay. Well, I'd like to, in essence, have an opportunity to welcome all of you to our first community forum. And this is a forum where many of our faculty members have engaged in the process of forming a faculty learning community to address a very important and critical theme these days, which is habits of minds and dispositions. So it gives me an incredible opportunity and pleasure to be the person to be able to welcome this first initial forum and community gathering where we are actually inviting and have among us faculty, staff, students, and community leaders. So this is really a first, and I hope it will be the many more that we will have as we begin to address very important points in the field of education. Today I'd like to welcome and actually recognize our provost, Douglas Wartzog, who is with us today, and he will be speaking to us in a few minutes. In addition to that, let me take this opportunity to recognize many of our community friends of the College of Education that are Miami-Dade County Public Schools leaders and principals, assistant principals, and others. And I'd like to take an opportunity to ask them to please, all the principals that we have in this room, could they please stand up and say who they are and what is the school that you represent?
Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here this morning. My name is Guillermo Munoz, and I'm the principal at Western Hialeah Senior High School. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Victor Segredo and I'm principal at Sniper Creek Elementary.
Good morning, I'm Anna Rodriguez and I'm the proud principal of Ponce Leon Middle School.
Good morning, my name is Corey Rodriguez and I'm the principal of Redmond Elementary.
Any other principals here? No? Assistant principals? Any assistant principals in the room? Okay, well, welcome, and thank you for joining us in this very special day. As I mentioned today, the faculty that form this faculty learning community will share with us their experiences during the last several months as they actually engage in the process and a journey of discovery and reflection on the topic of habits of minds and dispositions. And this is something that I think more and more is becoming a very critical piece of information and theme as we deal with the effective production of teachers while encouraging effective teachers, administrators, school leaders, and faculty members and students. So this is something I think of a very great importance to all of us as we engage today in the next 2 hours in learning with them what they have learned in this process of reflection and discovery and how we can actually integrate it into our everyday lives. So at this point, I'd like to introduce our provost, Douglas Wartzog, and let me just say a few things about our provost. He actually serves as professor in the Department of Biological Sciences. Provost Wartzog received his bachelor's in physics and mathematics from Andrews University and his master's in physics from the University of Illinois. He also has a PhD in biophysics, neurophysiology from John Hopkins University. Hopkins, He has been a faculty member as well as an academic administrator at Johns Hopkins, at Purdue, at the University of Missouri in St. Louis, and at other major universities throughout the nation. Dr. Wartzog's research focuses on behavioral and physiological ecology of marine mammals. And actually his research has taken him to such places as the Arctic Ocean, all the way to Antarctica, where he studies seals, whales, and walrus. So it is without further ado that I'd like to recognize our wonderful and very supportive provost, Douglas Woodside.
Thank you, Daly, very much. I'm really pleased to be here with you this morning. We've got the year off to a great start. We have, as you know, over 2,000 additional students on campus, so that's a challenge for everybody, but people have really been stepping forward to it. This year we tried to put in place a concierge service for our students, and that has worked quite well. The benchmark indicator of that is the fact that the lines at the commercial establishments, the bookstore, and the various dining establishments across campus were much longer than they were at the registration, admissions, and financial aid. And so we're going to keep doing better, but on the first shot, that was a pretty good response. I'm very pleased to be, as I walked around and met a number of you, to see that we have undergraduate students here, we have graduate students here. Obviously, we have our FIU faculty and staff, and we also, though, with a warm welcome, have our colleagues from the Miami-Dade Public School System with us. Just before, I didn't make it, I've met a couple of new faculty members here. Usually I meet them at the new faculty orientation in the middle of last week. I was actually getting a chance to clear my brain from administration and do some and have a presentation at a conference on aquatic noise in Ireland, and that's what I was doing last week. So I was not here for the new faculty orientation, but I got a chance to meet with folks at this today, and I also I missed the freshman convocation, but I understand that it was the best ever, and so we continue to improve that activity, and I hope that you'll participate in that as well. What was really very comforting and encouraging for me is to see the number of faculty who are willing to take time on a Saturday morning to come here, and not only the time you're taking just today to learn about what your colleagues have been doing in terms of these learning communities, but the time, the fact that a number of you have participated in the learning communities and have a real focus on how we can improve education of our students. And I think that's the most important thing that we're all trying to work toward. I think we made a lot of progress in changing our mindset towards student learning and student learning outcomes as we work through the SAC school accreditation process that we had over the last few years. And now the responsibility for us is to make sure that that was not a one-time activity, and that we really do continue to keep the focus on student learning. And I think that within this context of talking about the dispositions and habits of mind will help all of us to progress in terms of a better way of making sure that our students are successful in their learning. So then finally, I just wanted to congratulate Kristen Dotton on a really fantastic Frost professorship. This is a rotating professorship that the Frost have established and endowed, and a number of faculty engage in it on a yearly basis. And all of them have done good work, and we always hear good reports from it. But this is the first one that I think has really led to this type of a collaborative interaction. And so I think a great deal of credit and a great deal of congratulations go to Professor Dotton and his work, and how he turned this Frost professorship into a really very meaningful activity. Congratulations.
Thank you very much for this workshop. My name is Erskine Dotton, and just a few hours ago, last night, I told some colleagues that there was something about me they did not know. Some of them have heard it before, that I'm an Afro-Saxon. And an Afro-Saxon is someone from the West Indies with my pigmentation, whose feet are in the West Indies, whose head is in the British Parliament, and whose dumbasses in America. My role right now is to first indicate that we'll make some minor modifications in our agenda and time schedule, but rather than delineating all of those right now, we'll update you as we move along. So if you look across to the left on the agenda, and you're very punctilious in your manner about following the time, we're adjusting some things as we move along. I'm going to ask Ariana at this point to pull up an introductory video for us, if she doesn't mind.
The faculty learning community here emerged out of the Frost Professorship Award. Its focus is on dispositions as habits of mind, and the intent is to use dispositions and habits of mind to enhance learning and teaching within our courses, within the college, and within the broader community.
I really gained a high level of energy from working with the community, and I learned how to develop a sense of community.
The faculty learning community gave us an opportunity to get together with our colleagues and really share ideas about what we do in the classroom, why we do it, and how our thinking process works.
So the thinking is contagious.
When we're working, we get so involved in things and coursework and all of the myriad obligations that we forget what's really important, which is people.
What I really liked about the faculty learning community was the focus on people. The idea of people as faculty collaborating on things and then taking these models and learning from each other and taking it into our classrooms and into the community.
I think you begin to connect with your colleagues more on a personal basis and an intellectual basis.
We try to take the most opportunities to have these open discussions and have them incorporate the three areas of teaching, research, and service.
The major goals are for us to then understand more about dispositions as habits of mind, how we may incorporate that understanding to enhance our learning and the learning of our candidates, and in turn, how they may transfer that learning to improve then our community, especially our public schools within our community.
I think some of the goals were to begin an interdisciplinary dialogue among faculty members to hear and learn about different teaching practices, research practices, community engagement practices.
We're preparing teachers. We want education to change. We want our teachers to be good thinkers, and that starts in our classrooms.
Improving teacher quality has been focusing on individual teachers when we really have to look at the context and the community the teachers are working in.
As part of the learning community, we used a protocol which forces you to stay quiet for the amount of time that everyone is able to share their opinions and tell you what they think of what you presented.
And with the protocols, we follow different steps like listening, the presentation from our colleagues, and jotting about ideas that came to our mind of what we see in those presentations, asking questions, and an open discussion, while the presenter was just an observer at that point. So that helped all the presenters see what other people see from their work.
The hope for future work by the community is to disseminate their learning through publication, engage other colleagues, both in the College of Education and across the university, and to enhance the learning of our teacher education candidates in the area of dispositions as habits of mind.
Where we go from here is a very important question, and sometimes it's more difficult to create a formal learning community versus something that's a little more informal. So I think I look at this question from the side of keeping our group together as formally as much as possible, possibly writing grants or do something that would fund our efforts working together collaboratively.
I think the future steps, we hope, are to enhance the community, expand it, to work with other people around campus and in the college. For me personally, I would really like to see technology and media used to sort of promote the goals of faculty and learning communities, create modules or tools based on the protocol, based on visual thinking, so that other people, both in the university setting, but also teachers and people in the community, could gain from the tools that we explored over the last couple months.
Now meet the members of the community officially in the order you saw on the screen. But before we get to Mohammed, who was first on the list, Maria Lovett, who is a member of the community, could not be here because she had a family member who passed away recently. Mohammed.
Good morning. I'm Mohammed Farouk, and I'm an associate professor in curriculum studies and social studies education. When Erskine talked to us about forming this learning community, I thought the idea was wonderful. And particularly I was interested in the theme of the learning community, which is dispositions as habits of mind. As someone who has written so many documents, accreditation documents, SATs, NK, the whole 9 years regarding accreditation, we always write learning outcomes, and we have dispositions as a learning outcome. And I was a bit struggling to find ways to actually assess dispositions through my courses and programmatically. How do we document the development of dispositions in our students? So when we started this forum, I learned from my colleagues some ways that we can really incredibly assess dispositions at various levels. And that's one thing that I have really learned and that I will implement in all my classes and all the work that I do in terms of my teaching, research, and service.
Good morning. I'm Joy Stein, and I also was thrilled to join this community. I feel that from working together, I have a greater appreciation and deeper understanding of the work and thinking of my colleagues. And I think that we can all work interdependently now on a different level because we have this greater depth of just understanding. So it's a wonderful experience.
I'm Teresa Lucas, and I'm in teaching, learning, and TESOL is my specialty. And the part that really I loved about this experience was the community part, and getting to know my colleagues that have been here for 6 years now. And now I really feel part of this community, and I really feel like I know my colleagues because we've had such wonderful discussions together about ideas. And not like department meetings where we have to talk about all the business of the college, but where we could really share our thoughts and get to know one another. So it's been great. Thank you.
Good morning.
Sorry.
George O'Brien, and the excitement for me to join this learning community is that I've worked with many of the faculty here for many years, and it's really a great opportunity to become a learning community because at various times in the college, we had smaller departments at one time, for example, perhaps we all thought we were part of a learning community in that sense, of being together, working together, and having the time to coordinate activities across teaching, service, and research. And it's more difficult in a larger, bustling university with big departments. So this focus for this community was exciting to me. And part of the challenge is to link it to other learning communities, both at the faculty level, but perhaps more importantly for many of you, to how to create learning communities in our classroom and how we link those classroom communities with other communities within schools, within units like the College of Education and the university. So I think this effort led by Dr. Doughton has been one of those efforts that will help us propel ourselves into a time where we can improve our community, but also develop something in a smaller scale compared to sometimes the larger institution that we all have to adapt to each day.
Hello, my name's Lynn Miller. I'm in the area of reading education. I really appreciate the opportunity to join this learning community, and I can echo what others have said so far, but to add something new, I really like the way that by listening to others and speaking with others, I was able to sharpen the concepts that I talk about with my students in my class, or that I work in my class. So we talk about a certain disposition like persistence, but we were able to examine, what does that mean? What does that look like? And how can I explain it to my colleagues? And then how can I then better explain it to my students, and so on. So there was a real sharpening of ideas and concepts as I got to talk with my colleagues in this focused way.
My name is Bill Ritzy. I'm an art educator here in the College of Education, and also I've really enjoyed the opportunities being part of the learning community. To kind of bring it home a little more concrete to the dispositions, which was the theme of our learning community, it made me realize that some of the things that I've been doing in my classes with my teachers who will be using art as part of their curriculum, or art teachers, focuses around obviously the creative process. And while the creative process oftentimes we think is kind of this internal thing, creative people, it all happens up here, it became very important through the community that I let my students, who will be teachers, understand that that process has to be visible to everybody. And so through activities in the classroom now, I have been working in groups, and we've been doing group work for years, but adding that community component to it really lets them see how other people do think creatively. So one of the dispositions that we're working on is really to get their creative thoughts out and visible to the other people in the classroom. And that became very clear as part of this community, that was a very important part, the part that I was missing in my classroom.
Good morning. Oops, I forgot the alphabet too. My name is Robert Voss, and I'm in Learning Technologies, and the importance of this for me is the transportability of it to the schools. As most of us know, public school teachers don't really have the opportunity to sit and think. There's no time during the day to sit and think. And if there could be a formal process like this, sort of a formal, informal process, but it's a formal process, where teachers and administrators and others in the school, the staff, can sit down and talk and think and communicate. And the part about communication that's missing a lot is the listening part of communication. And we tend to think about what we're going to say next instead of listening. And so this process, which forces people to be quiet and listen to what's going on, is a good process for us to adopt into the school.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aisha Perez Bravo, and I also echo what everybody said, but perhaps the most important thing for me about being a member of the learning community was getting to hang out and hear what other colleagues say who are not in my immediate family of TESOL. Normally I learn things to do in my classroom from conferences or books or research or from my TESOL colleagues, but this time I got a chance to learn from colleagues in all different disciplines. And I'm already implementing some of the things I learned in the classroom, such as the protocols and listening, as Rob said, and bringing the thinking to visibly, which I hadn't really done before. So I appreciate being a member, and I think, Kathy, you should introduce yourself as well.
Hi, my name is Angela Salmon, also known as Kathy. I'm the early childhood program in the teaching and learning department. And it was an honor for me to be part of this group because it helped me to grow as an individual, as a group of learners,